Hey, how's it going? Um, so we've gone through a lot of different locks. I've showed you quite a few of them, but the one thing that I haven't showed you is the one that most of you are probably, again, the most familiar with because it's one that everybody had in middle school and in high school, and you probably use it on your locker now because you think it's the most secure thing in the world. But I'm telling you right now, this is just as easy to get into as all the other locks, as easy to decode. And I'm going to be showing you how to decode this. Um, so the first thing that we need to kind of learn about this lock is that if you notice this dial right here, it turns pretty freely, right? No shackle tension, it turns freely. Now let's see what happens if we put full shackle tension on it. It gets hung up, it gets caught. And this is going to aid us in finding the combination to this lock. It is important to know that you actually don't have to be super accurate with the combination on this lock. Actually, you can be off by one number, either one number before or one number after, and still open this lock. Now, the two numbers that we're hard fast gonna try to find is really the first and the third. And the second one we're kind of mostly using by chance. But we'll go over that when the time comes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we explain the shackle tension, how you have no tension and you have full tension. To find the first number, we're actually going to have to find a tension somewhere in between there to find a little, what I like to call a hang-up. It's almost like going over a road bump or a speed bump. You feel a difference. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of tension on this, and we're going to turn clockwise. And what we're looking for is we're actually looking for a hang-up, something that's not going to let us move it very easily. And right there, I actually just kind of found one. There's one at about 25. Now what we're going to do, see how it's kind of giving us a hard time getting across? Heard that click? Now we're going to go back the other way. I felt tension going the other way as well. So this rule is going to be a little bit important. We're actually looking for a number that gives us that little bumping feeling that actually doesn't give it to us the other way. So we're going to keep going. Alright, I felt another one right there. I'm going to have to go all the way around to kind of get it again. So let's go. So did you see the hold up? Let's go back again. There's a little bit of a hold up there. Right about the 8 mark, right? So right about the 8 mark. So we're going to go with that. So wherever we find that bump, what we're going to do is we're going to take that number, so we said 8, and we're going to actually add 5 to that. So we're going to add 5. So if we go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that means our first number is going to be about 13. Or, again, because it can be off 1, it could actually be 14 or 12. But let's go with 13, and we'll see how that works for us. Now the next number we're actually going to try to find is the third number. And to find the third number, we actually want to apply full shackle tension on this. And what we're looking for is we're looking for inconsistencies. And what I mean by that is inside the back of this lock, there are actually 3 little discs. And on the outer side of those discs are little divots. And that's actually where these your dial kind of gets caught up in, that doesn't let it move right there. It gets caught up in those. Now the gate that actually allows the shackle to open is wider than these little divots that get caught up in it. And so what we do is we look, if you can see, for example, if we put full shackle tension here, as you can see, these numbers stop in between the 2 and the 3. Now, suppose we went through and everything was stopping at the 2 and the 3, but we had one that stopped, let's say, 1.5 and 2.5, right? That would be an inconsistency. And so we would pick the number right in the middle, and that would be our third number. So what we do is we actually start right here at about 0. We look for the first area in which we get all that resistance. And what we do is we go and we add 10. So every 10, it should stop at around the same place. So in other words, that was 2 and 3. This should stop at 12 and 13. So 12 and 13, 12 and 13. And so on and so forth, 22 and 23, 22 and 23, 30, 32 and 33, 32 and 33. Okay, those all look to be about the same. So now we go to the next set of numbers. So this was 2 and 3, so we look for the next set. Alright, so that kind of clicked it right here. So this is showing me at about 5.5 and 6.5. And I don't know if you can see that, but 5.5-ish, 6.5, 5.5-ish, maybe a little bit more than 5.5, and then 6.5. Now we're going to go add 10. Well, that one doesn't let us go as far, right? So there's an inconsistency. We can't exactly go to that 6.5 point. Let's keep going and see if we see any other inconsistencies. Well, no, that stops at about the 6 right there. Maybe a little bit more. And that stops at about the 6 right there. A little bit more. Now let's go back to that 5, the original 5. And that goes again to about that 6.5. It allows us to go a little bit farther. So that's a good inconsistency. So we're going to go with that and say, let's see, between 5.5 and 6.5-ish. We're going to say 6 is our third number. Alright, so we have our first number, 13, and we have our third number, 6. So how do we get the sixth number? So all we do to get the sixth number is what we're going to do is, let's kind of reset everything right here. We're actually going to go, we're going to turn 3 times to get to 13. And then we're going to go around the other way again, and we're going to stop at 13. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 to our first number. We're going to add 2, so that's going to give us 15. And then we're going to go back to 6, and we're going to pull the shackle. Nothing. Alright, so what did it say? 15. So then we're going to add 4 from now on. So we're going to go to 19. 19 and back to 6. Nothing. Alright, so now we're going to add 4 again. 4 plus 19 is what? 23. 23. We're going to go back to 6. Nothing. 23 plus 4. 27. And back to 6. Nothing. Beginning to get discouraged. Alright. 27 plus 4 is what? I think that's 31. 31. And back to 6. Super discouraged now. So let's add 4 more to 31. 35. And then back to 6. Well then. Another master lock decoded, another master lock opened. Yeah. So I can tell you right before I film this video, it's straight out of the package. There it is. Here it is. Yep. So you can decode these things straight out of the package if you want, or if you've got a lock that you've had for a long time that you just can't figure out the combination, that's one way you can figure it out. Now, just like any lock, these can be old and rusted, and that might make decoding these things a little harder. But in this day and age, you used to be able to shim these things open, and what I mean by that is you used to be able to actually put, it's called a shim, it's just this little thin device that actually goes, you can put it within the shackle, and basically it pushed everything out of the way and allowed the shackle to open. Well, as you can see right here, it says anti-shim. You can't do that anymore. So these things are not as easy to open as before. Now I suppose you could cut this with bolt cutters, but if it's a lock that you want to keep, this might be a good way to get this lock open. All right. Well, happy decoding. Again, just another video to prove to you that your locks aren't as secure as you think they are. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you learned something. Have a nice day.